DT, I must say, it's always a pleasure getting with you today, but today you've got a startlingly gorgeous Florida themed shirt on.
Well, I'd like to take credit for picking this out, but AI picked it out for me. Uh,
Oh, yeah, there you go. Get right into the theme. I'm telling you. And you were just kind of setting me up like I was going to say it's ugly and you're like, oh, hey, I picked it up. But that's today's topic is the incursion of AI. I get the AI. I understand what it is and why it's coming, but it seems like it's getting a bit out of control, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I understand it too, machine learning and stuff, but I just don't know all the talk of it. I mean, you work in an industry that's big on tech or whatever, but how is that going to benefit me or impact my life? How is AI?
Well, it's
I'm kind of over it already, and I don't even have it much.
I remember Elon Musk or somebody like in that realm, he was saying that the next big, and you've seen all his inventions, and they're just, oh boy, light years. But he's saying like the next big thing is going to be when they develop, I think it might have been whoever the guy is in Apple who was in charge of it. He was saying that the next big thing is when it becomes a personal assistant, an effective personal assistant.
Steve Jobs or Cook or one of those guys.
I think you're on the Cook. Is Jobs still alive? I think.
No, he died. But yeah, I mean, so I think Steve Jobs was still alive when they came out with Siri, and Amazon has their Alexa, and I do use Siri, I guess, on my cell phone occasionally, not much. Um, I know you have an Alexa there in the the pad because I've heard you tell it to shut up before or something or to
Yeah,
turn
I've
up.
got a few, but I mean, honestly, it's gotten, I felt like, I took the one out of the guest bedroom because the most common guest in there was like, I never use that anyway, so that's okay, I'll take it out. And I took the one off my kitchen counter because it doesn't need to be. But I also noticed the incursion, like you and I have talked before. I've never been anti-tech. Actually, I'm pretty much pro-tech. But I look around, it's like, I got a smart TV and now we got a smart thermostat. I'm worried we've all got smartphones. So I'm like, how did this happen? It's like it's just coming on.
Yeah, I like self-driving car stuff. I haven't been in one. I'm not
Oh,
opposed to it. Once I get one of those taxis or something if I'm somewhere. I don't know who's driving a train if I'm in New York City riding the subway or
or if anybody is.
Seattle or whatever. I don't know the cab driver, but I get it. The machine driven learning and the stuff that could make it a lot easier, smoother ride. You're not getting ripped off. They're not taking you some route just to run up the bill. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't have a Alexa in anything. I don't even have a smart TV. Neither of mine are broken. When one of them breaks, maybe I'll get a smart TV.
Really? You don't have a smart TV? Because those are ancient. They're like 20 years old.
Yeah, I've got a perfectly good plasma TV at home, and I I only replace. I'm on my second TV in 40 years.
Is it
Um,
like a Philco in like that round box that looks like a robot head?
a Pioneer, I believe.
Oh, even better.
Back when
Even
they were like
better.
$2,300, it's
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
55 inch, and but yeah, I don't. I only have a TV in one room in either
Well,
place. So
my son and I came across on an intersection the other day, and I saw this car at one of the positions. It was four places, and it looked like that. Remember seeing back in the day, like the GPS car, like people would drive around with that big thing on,
yeah,
and you knew they were just a. So we saw this thing, and that's fine. We just went through the intersection. Then I saw a story on the Austin News, and that it was a driverless car. I didn't recognize it. We got a few of them now in Austin,
yeah,
and
yeah. I can't remember which cities I've seen those in. San Francisco and um, San Diego and stuff. What do they call it? Not Venmo, but something like that.
no, I
Yeah,
can't remember. Nope.
they got all the
But
junk on top, and they're. Uh,
you are
and
up
I'm
to
sure
speed
when
with
they
your
have an
with
accident, I'm sure it's probably half the time, homeless idiot jumps out in front of them or
Well, they
some.
didn't. In fact, that example that they showed on the local news that somebody fell off their bike in front of them and it dodged it, effectively dodged it. But and I like the way you used Venmo as a vehicle, dude. You gotta
Yeah,
get
that's
up
that's
to
not it, but
speed
that's a simpler
just
name to it. I can't remember what it's
just
called.
a little. Okay, then I had a feeling it would be something like this. So I'm going to give you a scenario, and this like kind of explains my concern. But I'm going to make you part of it, so it's a happy-go-lucky interaction. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, DT is a freelance graphic designer in Austin, Texas. It could happen. He starts the day with a reminder from his phone. saying that you've got a meeting in about a half hour. The assistant knows the traffic patterns, estimates the time it's going to take you to get ready, so you don't have to worry about it. But later, you're working on a new project, so your design software automatically suggests color schemes or layouts or whatever based on current trends. So it saves you time, but it even offers like design elements that fit the overall like where you want to go with the project. So it's like a creative assistant. And this is only going to take me 30 more seconds. Wait for it. So as the day goes on, you open another project app and it's an AI, you've seen an AI powered chatbot pops up, which I am actually a fan of, guiding you through organizing tasks and setting deadlines, stuff like that, like a virtual team member helping you stay on track. So by the end of the day, use an app to order groceries. I did this 8 years ago. I'm a fan of it. That's fine. But the app knows your shopping habits. It suggests things like you're going to need soon, like when you're going to run out of stuff, like eggs and peanut butter. So looking back, you realize that AI has been present throughout your day, assisting you without you really even noticing. So from managing your schedule to offering help at work to making personal recommendations, AI is like, I don't want to say secretly, but quietly become a part of your life, and it offers convenience and personalization without, drawing attention to itself. So here's what I'm saying. The big picture is in your world, in that example, it's not just a future concept, it's already influencing your daily life. So manages your time to enhancing your work, to streamlining things that you do every day. It's like an invisible force, but it raises the question, if AI is handling so many things for you, are you losing control of your choices and independence in ways that you really don't realize? That's what
Yeah,
I was wondering. That's my concern.
I think it probably is, and I know that it's been like a slow creep into my life. We rely on our devices, phone,
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
watch, whatever. Your cars. Uh, Neither one of us are driving a brand new 2025 unless you got something recently. But so I know the they're putting more chips in cars and they're learning your driving habits and stuff. And I get it that some of that does seem like it'd be pretty convenient.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know, letting something do stuff for you. Most of the stuff that's that's our daily life. The mundane stuff is 90% of life, and I don't think it's bad all the time. Traffic, yeah, sucks, but coming home from the grocery store, I guess when you forgot something when you could have had a list, I don't know. I'm a little bit backwards. I think we've mentioned before. I've never had food delivered to my house. I've never used the stuff the last few years, Instacart or anything, having groceries brought out or whatever. I don't make a list. I walk down an aisle and look and go, yeah, this week I'd like to make gumbo or something.
oh, I don't know, man.
I'll see
I've
something
been
on
making
special.
I've been making lists for probably 30 years, but
I'm sure that would be much more effective than the way I do it and get home. Oh,
it
I forgot to
probably
do
would.
that.
It probably would. But I've also been guilty of like getting the Chicago Tribune back in the day just to get the coupon section. So, but I can, but like like you're saying, help you automate. I'm thinking about what I've been doing today is like I'm setting up my coffee maker for tomorrow morning. I'm making my lunch for tomorrow. I'm getting my clothes out for tomorrow. I don't need you to tell me that. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure maybe if I was 20, I would be more receptive to a lot of it.
But
I
I'm
would.
also like But I'm kind of pushing back because as well, and this also has me wondering because I sent you a video clip yesterday, as we're wont to do with
Yeah,
Instagram. But it was like, you jokingly said, unless I've got a new car, I'll say, if I get another car, it probably won't be new because I don't want all the chips and the bells and the
amen, brother
whistles and
Mitch. Amen. I am
oh
so. I was just thinking about that the other day. You look at a new truck and maybe it's $70,000. I can buy the coolest
yeah.
old truck for $70,000 that
Oh,
doesn't have all that stuff, and I can turn a knob to adjust my radio station, another knob to turn
oh,
the fan speed up on the heater or the air conditioner.
it
And
just
doesn't
and
that
you
sound
prefer it does,
fabulous?
and you prefer it because also as you're doing that, I'm thinking of the style of the trucks you're talking about too. Like I jokingly sent you one yesterday that said if it doesn't have like the dashboard doesn't have an ashtray in it, it's probably too new, and I don't want to deal with it. I'm not that I'm going to use the ashtray,
Right.
but it's the style of those trucks, and we're going to do an episode upcoming here with an old buddy from Orlando about how. I miss AM radio, or I miss radios with DJs and stuff. It was more personal back then. And I think like as you talk about the newer vehicles, I think they're just less personal. They're more common like across
Yeah, you
a
don't get
broad
all the
band.
cool tactile stuff. Um, there's a place still for a manual transmission. There's a
Always.
still for radio knobs and gear selectors. I mean, a bunch of the new cars don't even have a gear shifter in it. You push a button for drive or reverse.
Oh God. Well, because I do a lot of travel for work, and
Yeah,
when
you
I
rent a
see
car and
the
you're like, how do you even back out of the stall?
I'm, I remember getting in the first one I saw, and it was like it had no gear shifter. I'm like, what the hell? And like it's just like a knob in the bottom. It's like a side of a $50, and you just spin it to go to D. I'm like,
Yeah,
come on.
I sat in a parking lot trying to figure out how to take off and leave. You know, I'm like, I'm going to look stupid sitting in here for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to go. And yeah, so like I said, some of that tactile experience is great. Um, yeah, I'm not saying I want to go back to driving a horse drawn wagon,
Yeah,
but
let's draw a line here. Yeah.
I don't need all the tech all the time. Uh,
Well,
and
I mean,
like you, I like tech stuff. I've got,
yeah.
whatever, tablets and smart watches and smartphones and stuff. But
Well, I mean, there's always going to be a balance between, and some people call it the fear of AI, and it's not a fear of it. It's just like a reticence of acceptance. But
yeah,
it's like there's always going to be like AI. I've seen areas where like it can run numbers, it can run data to help, address like big picture items like climate change, or definitely in healthcare and medical diagnostics. I'm all about it. Um, and because it'll
yeah,
run the numbers, it'll run the scenarios, and it'll help you come to those critical decisions. Like, military strategy, probably. I mean, I can almost guarantee it. Law enforcement, but that, without the need for human oversight, and it gets it done faster, and the outcome is definitely worth the effort, right?
yeah. Just watch Terminator with the Rise of the Machines.
Yeah, boy, keep it current. That was probably 1992, wasn't it? Something like
The
that.
original was older than that, but yeah, the whole idea was that they learn, the machines learn, and then attack us, whatever. Um,
Well, it
and
is,
I'm not
but
worried about that. If the machines learn that much in the 20 years I've got left, have at it.
yeah, we're screwed anyway. I mean,
Yeah, but
we've but it's the important. I mean, I guess and here's where I think it's like I see this and I'm like, no way. But the people who are proponents of AI stress the importance of ethical guidelines, and I think of like, it's like use AI for the public good while mitigating risk. That feels like politics, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't know how you would get a machine. I mean, where it's going to learn itself not to cheat
Yeah, yeah, you've gone too
or
far. Like
whatever.
it doesn't have a soul.
Yeah, so it's bad enough for all of us who do have one to try and walk the straight and
Yeah,
narrow and do the right thing, right?
exactly. Because and it's like. But it feels like, the people who are in control of where they allow AI to encroach into, they can be paid off. That's where I say it feels like politics.
Yeah, yeah. I like I was trying to look up uses of AI, before we started recording too, because I'm like, well, other than the Alexas and the stuff, what else? And the medical stuff. Yeah, that is one of the good ones. I guess you have a CAT scan or PET scan or something.
Well, I
It
had an
can look
MRI earlier in the
it
year.
can look at that information and maybe catch what a human would miss that a human could follow up with and go, yeah, maybe we will. Uh, this does look like a tumor or some kind of anomaly that we need to
It's
address.
not a tumor. See, if you want to go old school with the Arnold movies, we can do it.
There you go.
But I'm a firm believer because I've had probably five in my life that MRIs are basically just to test whether or not you have claustrophobia.
Yeah, I I have not. I had the one of those tests, but I don't remember. I don't think it wasn't that one. CAT scan or PET scan or something.
Oh, I
And
can imagine you've had a CAT scan.
and yeah, it's after a friend of ours hit me with a pickup truck. But uh,
Would you quit bringing that up? I got a feeling it was after you had a conversation with somebody and they referred you. That's all it
so
was.
yeah, that's the first one of those I had, and yeah, they injected iodine or whatever. But um, somebody there at the basement of the Ottawa hospital looked at the information and said, "Yeah, your spleen seems like it's okay. Maybe that guy, if he had a bad night, maybe the machine would be better at that, to take the
Okay,
human
yeah.
error and stuff out of it." But
Well, by
then,
bad night, you and I both know you mean he was out drinking or he was like out carousing. But so again, but for me, like for old Mitch, especially, but I do still value human connection. People might, like really, but again, create human creativity because you're not going to get that from a machine. It's going to do the most logical. So the creativity and decision making, you do it all the time at work. Sometimes you have to be very creative in adapting to a situation. I mean, that's part of the Marine Corps credo too, is adapt, adapt, adapt. I believe that's Marine Corps, but that's the human brain doing that, not AI.
yeah, that muscle up between your ears can, it changes over time. We don't think the same way we did when we were 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or whatever.
Yeah.
At
Or
some
after a
point,
few
it doesn't work,
concussions. Yeah.
doesn't work as well. But most of the time, we've learned from our experiences. And I get it that the machine learning is trying to do that too, but I think you don't want to take a human element out of all that.
Well, I've also seen, because you bring up at our age, that there's a difference with age groups too. Because I was curious whether or not, it's just us, because here we are talking about, but younger generations, here's the M word again, millennials and Gen Z, they're more comfortable with AI as a tool for efficiency, but Gen X and baby boomers are more skeptical. That's just fact.
Yeah, I can see that. I remember when my father was the age I am now, and he was still working, and he hated when stuff was going over from what do you call it? When it was all kind of graphs and stuff to computers where he worked at the chemical plant.
Oh yeah, yeah. You had to
To
feed a card in. Yeah.
be 60, whatever, 61, 62, and try to learn that when he'd been from the 60s, where you go tap on the dial and, turn a button and stuff. So had a difficult time learning that and said, boy, you'd think sometime in your life you could quit learning, you know,
I've made that point before.
facetiously. But yeah, I've had that, too, hey, I don't want to go with the flow and go with the next change. And so,
Well, I mean, and also because, these younger generations grew up with technology. I think you and I are the last generation to know what it was like before cell phones. So technological comfort level can also be
yeah,
a
people can't
point.
fathom, that you didn't have something in your pocket that could, you had to ask somebody that you trusted that was knowledgeable what something was or how to work on something. You couldn't do two clicks and, figure out how to change the plumbing under your sink or
It
do house
it worked
wiring,
for it,
or
it worked for
whatever. Yeah,
me.
you had to ask somebody. You had to go to a trade school. You had to, you worked in a factory for a while. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
about
pretty
20 years.
primitive. Yeah, it was pretty primitive. I'm sure, the big yellow dump trucks and stuff. They didn't
But
do
yeah,
stuff.
well, I mean, because also I've seen here, like when I moved to Texas, and you still see it now. There's a lot of more traditional communities, rural communities. I still go to places they don't take credit cards.
Yeah,
if you want a beer, it's $5 and leave it an extra buck for the tip. But that also leads to a reluctance to accept AI. Because they want the authenticity, and I think that they see a lot of that in Texas. They think it's more authentic, and I agree with that. I see that, the human connection over relying on tasks or technology to take care, customer service for Christ's sake. My God. Come on.
yeah, that
We
stuff's
just
about gone now. I mean, it's harder and harder to find where you're actually going to interact with a human. You have a complaint at a complaint department sometime. Try to get a hold of somebody online or whatever.
oh,
You have a chat bot, and you keep typing, "Hey, I want to talk to a person." Ask why.
I know. Human, human, human. It's like, but when I do, it's like, and they do a great job. I tell them that they did a great job and how much I appreciate it. And let's face it, that's not an easy job. That's like being, the lost luggage person at an airport. Nobody comes in happy to see you.
Yeah.
So but well, I think to sum it up, I mean, the growing, the questions of control and impact on our autonomy, like a day in the life of you in that story, I just, as cheesy as it was, but it quietly manages your life. But I think it's got to be, there's also the force for good. So we've got, other people worry about it encroaching on human, interactions and stuff. It's up to us, like, whether or not or how we want to balance it. So I think we just need to like work to stay informed, and like we're doing now, like you and I are different levels of selective engagement.
Yeah, so we have way less uh, personal dealings with people we like than we used to. I think that's a fair assessment, right? Uh,
What do you mean?
if people deal well, you can go all day without interacting with other people, so that you have to figure out what actually enhances your life. Just because something's doing something for you, is it actually an enhancement or not? And sometimes that's what I think about a lot of times is this better overall, or is it just better that I didn't have to vacuum the floor because my i my Roomba iRobot, you know, vacuumed the floor,
Yeah,
so
those things, those are the
overall,
only thing,
is doing
the only
anything.
reason I thought about getting one of those is to eliminate me ever coming in and seeing a scorpion on my living room floor again. Because I know it's probably dead or bouncing around inside a Roomba.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, that kind of stuff's nice. It's got some benefits, whatever. So you spend $300 and you don't have to
Oh,
vacuum your
God.
floor every time or something. But
Yeah,
um,
300 ain't gonna get it for you, buddy. Make sure you take a look around. But still,
yeah, uh, but like I said, the doing stuff for yourself, I don't know. The more things you do for yourself, the more capable you are of doing everything. There's a sense of satisfaction with that you don't get from, uh, if you solve a problem yourself, it feels a lot better than if somebody solves it for you. And you don't realize it maybe at the time. You just want the problem solved, but
but then you also keep in mind too that the people that you're interacting with, and I know this is going to be a stretch for you, so hang on. They may enjoy working with you. They may enjoy the time that they get to interact with you. So, I look back and I've made a lot of friends over the years just at work, and I
yeah,
enjoy seeing it. And then we get together at private events. It's even more fun. Usually more fun. But
yeah. You
but it's
wonder
like
how AI is going to affect the workforce in the next 15 or 20 years. If you work for big companies, how AI is going to. That's what a lot of people have a fear they're going to lose their job because of machine, robot, whatever is going to do it for them.
yeah, I've heard that too. I mean, I can see areas where it will. Like, well,
Yeah,
we just talked about one,
yeah,
customer service.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of
Because
things that you could probably program a machine to do, and then they don't have days where they have to take off because their child's sick, or you know
well,
all the machines, if you do 10 of them, they all do the same amount of output or whatever. And you don't have, Wayne over there that's a terrible worker, and the
no,
other
no
guys have
offense,
to
Wayne.
pick up the
No
baseball.
offense, Wayne.
Yeah.
But I mean, because it's going to get the creepy factor because let's face facts. We've all seen the commercials where, and the Instagram, videos that people are mashing up where they show Elon has made, female robots and they're like, oh boy, can it do? What can it do? Like you creep. Not gonna, but, but yeah, well, so it's still going to be wandering. I mean, it's still going to be, because it's everywhere. It's like right now, I'm looking around to see where I'm going to run into it next. And it's just a matter of I think my concern, if there is one, is can we control it? Like we talked about selectively engaging. At what point does it start, getting into your way or getting into your life where you
Yeah.
have no say over it?
Right. Because if you draw your line in the sand, as it were, for this machine to do this thing, but if it's constantly adapting and learning itself, it's going to push the boundaries, and
Yeah.
we're going to want it to on some stuff.
I don't fear like the scenario like, it's gonna have to learn how to think and that's gonna be autonomous and then you're not gonna be able to stop it. Like, come on, man. That's maybe in a movie, but
Yeah, investing, it makes me wonder. The listeners know I like to play around stock market. So a lot of these, you know, for years they've had computers that'll do trading thousands of times a second or whatever. They can look for trends faster than a person can, and you
yeah,
wonder
yeah.
um, how that's going to affect your portfolio or something. If you're maybe it benefits a whole bunch of companies that do it right. The machines notice that, they invest in that, and it pays returns. And at ones who aren't go the way of the dodo or something.
Well, I mean,
Harder to
you just
recover.
saw recently that one little girl and the Bitcoin and how everybody followed that and lost a ton of money. But let me ask you a question real quick, DT, to get back on track. You mentioned that the AI picked that shirt for you. Did it pick to tell you to leave the top button open? Because you look a little bit Florida Gigolo right now.
There we go.
There
How's
you go. Now you look like a Midwestern Illinois gigolo.
yeah, now I look like I should wear a tie with my Hawaiian shirt.
There you go. And ask AI what it thinks of that. You'll probably break it.
The one thing I noticed that I don't like, so I don't use Google that much. I use
What?
Bing or whatever it is on my phone or Safari.
You're such a
But
retard.
I guess Safari, this is a search engine, the default one on my phone. But it will put up a chat thing. What can I help you with? Like, hey, dumbass, just let me type out the word, who played in the movie, what, whatever, instead of explaining it to you and then you not giving me the right answer. I, so it's kind of funny when those pop up. I'm like, how do I shut this off? I don't
Oh
want to.
yeah. Oh yeah. I do it too. And I don't know if I can fight it because you actually, Safari, you've got a 40-year-old TVs, you've never had food delivered. I think you're a little bit more behind me as far as concerns are for AI. And and then like the coup de grace this morning, I sent you a picture. I had gone to Dunkin' Donuts and you're like, I never had Dunkin' coffee. It's like, I don't even know who you
I've
are.
had their donuts for years. I just don't know if I've ever had their coffee.
Well, see, in one way, I'm disappointed, but another way, it's going to open up a whole new facet of your life. I'm
Yeah,
telling you.
so I mean, it's a running joke with us. I've had Starbucks stock for 20 years, and I get a cup of coffee 3 times a year from a Starbucks, maybe. Um, Most of the time, when I get a cup of coffee, when it's not in my kitchen, it's at the diner or the cafe in Marseilles or whatever is similar down here in Florida that I go to. I'll get a cup of coffee, but I don't go to a Dunkin' or a Starbucks or whatever for a coffee. When I used to go to
I
the Dunkin' in Ottawa, the old one, I'd get a carton of milk. They'd give me 3 donuts and a
I
carton of milk.
okay. I'm not gonna try to I'm not gonna try to fight it, but I'm glad we could chat out this AI thing, and I got a feeling this is gonna be the first ep of a few episodes
Yeah,
about the because there's so many areas to wonder. So as more encroachment happens, don't be afraid if I reach out and try to get you again. By the way,
yeah. We'll try to maybe put out a couple clips. Let a robot machine pick out some clips out of this episode
oh
for
yeah,
us,
yeah, we don't want
and
to do that, but
put a
because I
dialogue
do.
box in there and put some links in and stuff.
I do my best to massage it so it's less stunning when people check out the clip. And by the way, if you want to see every episode, I'll put the recent episode, a clip of the episode on MitchWonders.com. You can catch up on old episodes. You can see behind the scene photos of every single episode that we've ever done, all 120 some by now, maybe even 130. But stop in, maybe even, okay, this is going to be bold. Subscribe, huh? What do you think? But
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, it's
like, click,
it
subscribe. What else can they do?
comment,
Yeah,
comment.
comment would be cool.
You can pause the video or look at a picture and of myself and DT on there and flip the bird at your computer screen for satisfaction. I'm sure we probably earned it, but DT, it was a pleasure sitting down with you again. Appreciate the time and appreciate the shirt. And now I can take off my sunglasses and I don't have to look at that shirt anymore.
And cut.